one of the areas where I see ministries really get hung up is on this decision making piece. Like, just make a decision. Your decisions are not set in stone, especially in a digital marketing context. Just make a decision and then move on. Welcome to the Digital Ministry Podcast. My name is Nick Runyon. I'm your host, and we're going to continue our conversation today in this series of solo episodes. So normally I've got a guest with me. We interview, we chat, we banter. Not today. Instead, today we're going to continue the conversation that started in the last episode. So if you didn't listen to episode 17, maybe go back to that. And I spent some time just talking about how I got my first job in marketing, the value of learning, and really walking through value propositions that are targeted to personas that match your marketing strategy. And from there, we build content that gets delivered into marketing channels. And then you test all of that and you measure it against your key performance indicators, the outcomes that you're trying to deliver. And then that's how you know if your marketing strategy or your efforts are working or not. So years ago, I heard this story. Actually, I was at a fundraiser for a nonprofit, and there was this Air Force colonel that was speaking, and he was talking about a guy named John Boyd. Now, John Boyd was a fighter pilot trainer during the Vietnam era, and they used to call John Boyd 30-second Boyd, because if you got in a dogfight with him, if you were flying against him, whether it was training or, in war, within 30 seconds, he was on you and you were dead, and he was just so fast. And John Boyd was an engineer. He was really kind of a brilliant trainer. And he was asked, like, how do you do it? And so you can go research John Boyd, and you'll find something called the OODA loop, OODA loop. So Boyd broke down his process into these 4 steps that are just constantly looping. You are orienting. Imagine flipping around in an airplane, flying aggressive maneuvers. You have to orient yourself, observe. So you're seeing what's going on. So orient, observe, decide, make a decision, take an action. And that's the A. So orient, observe, decide, and act. That spells OODA, and then you just loop this. So that's the OODA loop. So one of the areas where I see ministries really get hung up is on this decision making piece. Like, just make a decision. Your decisions are not set in stone, especially in a digital marketing context. Just make a decision and then move on. Like, we can rely on the testing. Once you make a decision, act on it. And then, in a marketing context, we're testing that, we're orienting ourselves. The testing is really the beginning of the next loop. So it's a reorientation. Like, did that work or not? Observe what's going on. What were the outcomes? Make the next decision, act on it, and just cycle this faster. This whole OODA loop idea is really anchored in the idea of continual learning. We have to continually be learning, and this requires us to approach digital ministry or digital marketing. I'm using those 2 words interchangeably throughout this episode, but also just throughout this podcast. We're using marketing tools to try to accomplish ministry goals. And so I think they can be used interchangeably. But it's this idea of continually learning. We have to be learners, which means we have to come to the table with this posture of humility, understanding that we don't know everything. And what we knew yesterday isn't going to help us be successful today, because something probably changed overnight. I'm recording this in early mid-June 2024. Last night, yesterday, Apple announced at their Worldwide Developer Conference that they are integrating ChatGPT 4.0 from OpenAI into Siri. So everything just changed. ChatGPT is now integrated into your iPhone with iOS 18. That's a huge change. That has huge implications. What does that mean? How am I going to target people? How am I going to do like search targeting? Are people going to search in the same way? Are they going to just have conversational dialogue with Siri on their iPhone now and get answers that way? Does search engine optimization work the same way that it used to? How do I need to structure my website or my content on my blog or the content on this podcast so that AI begins to pick that up, and in a conversation, it might get sourced as data or as a reference source that will help me reach more people? Like, I don't know any of the answers to those questions because it just happened yesterday. So this is a perfect, like, real-time example of how we have to continually be learning. So this morning I'm orienting to what happened yesterday. I'm observing what's going on. What are people saying about it? What's the information that I can kind of load in from all these different sources? Now I'm going to make a decision and I'm going to act on it. And then I just have to test that in the context of my goals and then do it again and do it again and do it again. And so the worst person that you can hire onto your team is the one who thinks that they know everything. Maybe even worse is for you, if you're a leader of your digital ministry team, to start to tell people, oh, this is Nick, like he knows everything. He's an expert. There are no experts in this game. There are no experts in this game. You might have been an expert on what happened yesterday, but something changed last night. And so, start learning, because if you want to stay an expert, it's your ability to learn faster. So that's what we're going to talk about today. How do we onboard new team members, and how do we continuously learn? Thankfully, there are a lot of great tools most of them are free. All of the 3 that I'm going to show you today are free to get started. These are great tools for onboarding new people onto your team. Maybe you require a refresher. You want to like brush up on your skills. I mentioned in the last episode that I've built, several marketing teams. I've hired dozens and dozens of people into marketing roles over the course of my career. Most recently, I was the chief marketing officer for a 300-person software company. And as I came in as the CMO, I used the OODA loop. I mean, I oriented myself to what was going on. I observed like what's working, what's not, made decisions, and I started acting. Some of those actions resulted in people moving off my team. Some of those actions resulted in me reorganizing my parts of the business. I identified I don't have anybody on the team who really deeply has a deep understanding of a marketing technology software stack. So I went and found that person. Shout out to Ernie. Ernie was amazing. He helped rebuild that whole MarTech stack within our company. Somebody who had a deep knowledge and understanding and experience using different SaaS products to help engage our ideal customer and track their progress through our business. That was all out of OODA loop. And we ended up reorganizing the business development motion, the go-to-market motion in that company, and created some predictability with sales qualified leads, which was, really the thing that I was tasked to do coming in there. So, and it was using some of these principles, but as I would hire junior people into that team, I needed to find junior people as well to come on board and manage some of these ads. This is the process that I laid out for them. This is also the process that I've shared with many friends and colleagues that are in the digital ministry spaces, different organizations like Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, Hope, Christian Vision, like a lot of the teams that you've heard us talk about on this podcast so far. I've shared this with a lot of these teams. So today I want to share it with you, and I hope that this is helpful. So I've got 3 certifications, like 3 different programs that you could walk through. And I'm not going to say could walk through. I'm going to say like you have to walk through these. And if you've got people on your team who've never done any of these courses, I would say it's time to require them to have some in-service training, some continual education. And this is where I would start with it. So the first program that I want to share with you is a great one. This is HubSpot Academy. So you might be familiar with HubSpot. HubSpot is a CRM. It's a free CRM. You can get started with the CRM for free. They've got some really powerful tools that you can pay up for and use. But this is HubSpot Academy. So the URL is academy.hubspot.com. And you could just dive into this, but here's the suggestion that I'm going to make. Start with inbound, this inbound certification course. So why would I say start with inbound? First of all, what is inbound marketing? Inbound marketing is the process of, I'm sure that HubSpot has like an official definition on here, but I'm going to tell you from my experience. This is thinking about your persona, which we talk about a lot at MII, building content that person would find valuable and putting that onto your website or a blog, making sure that it's included in SEO. I would start with the inbound certification. This is going to give you the basics of how to create valuable content for your ideal persona. You can see here on HubSpot's website that this is listed as marketing and sales. I think a lot of if you're in ministry, I wouldn't discount some of these sales programs. Sales is really just a process of matching a solution to somebody who has a problem. And a lot of times people come into a ministry seeking solutions to whatever problems they might be feeling or facing in their life. So, don't just swallow it whole. I mean, we have to kind of be thoughtful about how we're using and applying some of these tools. We have to contextualize them to our individual ministries. But don't discount all of the sales stuff. So I would start with inbound, and then I would go with content marketing, and then I would go with social media marketing. These 3 courses are excellent for any team that's looking to understand, how do I upskill myself or my team members in the realm of digital ministry? So HubSpot is a wonderful tool. It's a great CRM. It gets kind of expensive for a lot of people that are in a ministry context. You can pay tens of thousands of dollars a year on this stuff, but those courses are free, and I would highly recommend them. Okay, so you're going to cover some things like persona identification, a lot of content, how do you create valuable content. We've talked about this before on the podcast, and if you've been around Media Impact International, MII, at all, you're going to hear us talking about measuring data. So the next course that I have for you is really, really critical. And you might be thinking, a lot of social media ministry happens in, digital ministry happens in social media. We're not talking about any social media stuff yet, because social media is just a tool for like awareness and initial engagement to bring somebody through like a consideration phase. But really, the website that your ministry has, or a landing page that you have, is a key component to any digital ministry effort. And if you have a website, if you're hosting a landing page, you need to understand, are people visiting it? Where are they coming from? Is it valuable to them? Are they sticking around? Are they taking the steps that we want them to take? These are all great questions that can be answered by Google Analytics. So the website here that we're looking at is grow.google. And this is Google's data analytics certification program. So what you're going to find on here is, there's a lot of training resources that Google offers at no cost. And so you've got data analytics, you've got, let's see here. So what we're looking at here is the analytics, the Google Analytics training course. So this is analytics.google.com. You can just do a Google search for Google Analytics certification. Here they've got free courses for Google Analytics for beginners, advanced Google Analytics, Google Analytics for power users. I'm not sure what the difference between advanced and power users are. I think power users is higher. And then getting started with Google Analytics 360, Data Studio, and Google Tag Manager fundamentals. So if you don't know what Data Studio and Tag Manager fundamentals are, this is a great place to learn about it. But I will just explain to you that Google Analytics allows you to see how people are interacting with your website. They give you, the Google Analytics tool gives you tons of information about visitors, flow paths through your website. So if they hit a landing page, which pages are they going to next? Say you've got a form that people can fill out to get in touch. Like, are people using that form? If so, where are they coming from? Where do they live in the world? What search did they do to get to your website? All of this information is available in Google Analytics. Now you can jump on to Google Analytics and sign up for an account and start to use some of these tools and kind of, muddle your way through it. That's true of all of these programs that we're going to look at today, by the way. And also I'm I'm realizing that some people are watching this on YouTube. Some people are listening to it on Spotify or iTunes. If you're listening to this episode, you might want to go check out the YouTube channel. I've got screen shares up, so that's what I'm narrating when I talk about when I say things like what we're looking at. So we're doing a screen share on YouTube, so you can go check it out there. But analytics is going to show you kind of how people are interacting with your website. So if this is a conversation about continually learning and orienting and observing to make decisions and act on those decisions, we can make good decisions if we have good input and good information. Google Analytics is a way to get you really good information. And I mentioned Data Studio and Tag Manager. These are kind of like higher level skills, but they're very important for any digital ministry team to be able to know, understand, and use. Tag Manager is a great way to manage all of that code that is going into your website or your app or even some of your social media campaigns. There are ways to link your social media users and followers to your website visitors and understand like how much crossover exists there. That's going to be Google Tag Manager that's going to help you do that. And then also Data Studio is basically like a data visualization tool that's going to help create dashboards and reports. And so this is really helpful for, and now I'm speaking to probably the members of a marketing or digital ministry team rather than the leaders. Like, this is a really good way to communicate the results of your campaign and your efforts to leadership or maybe to donors. You can visualize what's happening as people move through some of your digital assets using something like Data Studio. Incredibly powerful tools. These are free tools, and the education opportunity is right there. It's available to you. So sign up for free, take the Google Analytics training course, and help yourself out. Help your team members understand kind of how to use these tools better. Okay, so I've got one more. Now we're going to get to the social media piece. So I want to show you. I'm always surprised by how few people know about this, but you can become a Meta Blueprint certified professional. So this is Facebook. Meta is, the parent company of Facebook, but they've got Meta certification. So this is the URL here is facebook.com/business/learn/certification, or do a Google search for Meta certification. And if we scroll down here, what we're going to see is this helps you reach your professional goals on Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, and WhatsApp. So these certification courses really cover the full Meta suite of businesses. And if I scroll down a little further, I can see, really where to get started. I would start with this Meta Certified Digital Marketing Associate. So associate is a lower level than, marketing science professional, creative strategy professional, but start at the beginning. And they've got these helpful little, 100 to 101 course markers here to help you know which ones you want to use first. It's also sectioned here below with beginner, intermediate, advanced, and technical. And so if you think that you are kind of an advanced or technical user, then you can jump right into some of those marketing science courses that Meta offers here. This is an incredibly valuable resource. And here's why. They're going to teach you how to use these tools, first of all. So you need to understand how a tool works to get the most out of it. That's fairly obvious. But something that I've experienced through the years is once I know how a tool works, how it's been designed or intended to work, I can also know what it's not doing. Or I can find ways to maybe tap into my goals by using these tools in a way that they weren't necessarily built for or intended to be used. But I know that it'll still accomplish what it is that I'm trying to do. So, what's an example of that? An example of something that I've been experimenting with recently is Facebook Messenger ads. So, we're running some Facebook Messenger ads, and these ads are intended by Facebook for a business to target their persona, engage in a messaging conversation, sometimes fueled by a chatbot, and have an order placed from Messenger. So people can make a purchasing decision from Messenger. That purchase inside Messenger, that purchase is registered as you can, go into a contact and a business profile in the Messenger inbox, and you can say, ordered, shipped, purchased. There's a couple of different like statuses that you can put on there. Why would I want to do that in a ministry context? Well, changing the tag on that inbox message sends a positive signal back to Facebook that this is the type of person that um, places an order. They accomplish the business goal. Now, in a ministry, I'm not selling anything, but what I'm testing, I understand that from doing these trainings, that Facebook Messenger ads are intended to drive revenue to a business. The more revenue that gets driven, the more money I'm going to spend on Facebook. And Facebook knows that. And so if I send this positive signal of, oh, this person purchased from me, if I send that signal back to Facebook, that's going to inform their algorithm and their targeting that this is the type of person that's going to spend quote unquote money with this advertiser. So they're going to give me more people like that. So say I get just my absolute kind of ideal persona, the right type of person comes through that messenger ad and engages with my ministry. It's like, oh, I wish I could reach 1,000 more people just like this. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to click this person purchased. They didn't actually buy anything, but I'm doing that because I understand that that's going to send some kind of signal back to Facebook that they can then use to target more people like that, because that's who I want to talk to. Does this work? I don't know. I don't know. It's a test. It's an active test. I'm sharing this idea with you, but because I understand through some of these trainings how that messenger tool is intended to work for a business, I can apply it for my ministry. And so some of the benefit of all of these, whether it's HubSpot, Google Analytics, Facebook, and then there's others, like most SaaS products and most social media platforms have free training. So look for those. Whatever you're using, go look for it. But most of these are going to help you understand how the tool is intended to work. And you have to kind of think about, how do I contextualize this for my ministry? How do I take that intention of this tool and make it work for me and what I'm trying to accomplish? Okay, so again, would love to hear your questions, love to hear your comments. Leave us a comment on YouTube. Send us an email to info@mii.global. The team would be happy to engage with you on some of these questions. Find us on any of the social media platforms and send us a message, direct message there. we'll engage. Hope this is helpful. I know this has been incredibly helpful for my teams throughout my career. And I'm always amazed that people don't know that these tools exist. So if you're listening to this, now you know. Good luck. Have fun learning. Always keep learning. And remember to always engage in that OODA loop. One more plug for John Boyd here. Go look up John Boyd on Google or your favorite search tool and learn about that guy and how this continual process of orienting, observing, deciding, and acting helped fighter pilots during the Vietnam War, but also how it can help your ministry team just stay up to date with a landscape in digital ministry and social media that is constantly changing day by day. Thanks. Take care.